Good afternoon, everybody. I am Michael from Target View Trades. Today is the 3rd day of July 2024. It is the last thing we're going to do before the holiday. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. Now, I said I was going to do pivot points and multi-time frames. I'm going to do all that, and then I'm going to do some other stuff too. Everybody who's in here right now who is on the trial or who was on a subscriber, or if you take the trial today, I am going to give you access to a beta that I'm working on. It's right here, like a beta I'm working on. And it really doesn't look like anything different right here. But when you get into the guts of it, and Rico, you're going to love this. When you get into the guts of it, in here, there is this thing called Hot Tip. Now, hot tip means the tip of the arrow is hot. Okay, and what that's going to do is show you, in this case, something that, now this is something that's still in development, but what it's going to do is show you trades that trigger. That all the formula that goes into triggering the trade is the same. But you're going to have this hot tip on the end of it that says that's one that's likely to run. If it's gonna work out, it's one that's likely to run. Okay, what do you think of that, Rika? Magical, isn't it? Now, by default, everything is still the same. By default, there's no short trades in here. But if you put the shorts on, it'll do it for the shorts too. Now, when it has, the formula's got to hit for the shorts. You still get the shorts like you always would, but the formula's got to hit for the shorts. Now, if you put the bias on and it doesn't print the short arrows, or it doesn't print the long arrows, like this case right here, if you put the bias on where it doesn't print those arrows, whichever ones it deletes in here, should have deleted something. I guess it didn't. Well, anyway, you put the bias on, it deletes arrows. It's going to delete the whole thing. Like, you're not going to get any kind of hot tip or anything like that without the arrow attached to it. Okay, that is something that I'm working on, and right now we have it on the NQ15 range, but you can put it on the 7 range if you want. Same stuff. You can put it on higher time frames if you want. 25 range if you want. The idea behind it is to let you know you're in a trade that is likely to run. It's a little more likely to run. There's some things that come together that make that a trade that is more likely to run further. It's like all the targets. But that is just one little feature. Now, anybody who is in here who is an active subscriber, or who is in here who is on the trial or going to take the trial, send me an email at support@targetviewtrades.com. support@targetviewtrades.com, and just put hot tip and your TradingView login ID in the subject line if you want me to give you access to that. All right, send an email to support@targetviewtrades.com with your, what did I just tell you? Your name and your login ID. Your TradingView login ID is what I really need. Just say hot tip and your TradingView login ID in the subject line. Okay, and I'll give you access to this. Now, before I get too deep into that, let's just start this. All right, there are people who are probably going to watch this later who have never seen our stuff before, who don't know anything about this. So before I go into the multiple time frame things and all that, I got to cover some really basic stuff. Okay, now, if you have not taken a free trial, go here to the homepage at targetviewtrades.com, and right here is where you sign up for the trial. It is dirt cheap. It's actually free for the first 3 days. It's free for the first 3 days. And then it's still dirt cheap. It's only $25 a week to get started, or $90 a month to get started, or $997 for the year to get started. Now, this doesn't actually have a free trial along with it, because by the time you get to that, you either know me and you're going to just sign up for that because I'm going to be here for a year and I'm going to give you good stuff, or you're going to work your way up from the weekly to the monthly and then the monthly to the annual. Whichever you want to do. If you're in the weekly right now and you want to pay monthly to get the 10% discount, that's fine. Just tell me you want to switch. If you're in the monthly and you want to switch over to the annual to get the almost 20% discount, just tell me, and I'll send you what you need to make the switch. Okay? If you are brand new to this and you don't even have TradingView charts, go here to targetviewtrades.com, go to Getting Charts right here. Click on this. There is a sale on right now for all you guys. You should know this. There's a sale on right now. The huge sale they're having right now. It's not listing it right here, but they have a huge sale on right now that's good through tomorrow. It's like a 70% off sale, and it's going on right now. You will see it. These prices don't reflect it, but it's a 70% off sale. If you choose the premium, they sent me an email. I'll go find the email later if I have a chance. But they sent me an email yesterday. Maybe it was a text message yesterday or the day before yesterday. That 70% off sale is going on right now. So if you don't have the annual, click on the switch. Now I already paid for the annual. See, I'm good until 2025 or something like that because I've already done this. But if you click on the premium, whatever one you want to look at, it's gonna tell you about the sale. All right. See, this would be a downgrade for me to go here, and for me to switch out of this, I'd be switching up to another plan, which I really don't need. You guys, if you want the essential, that's 2 charts. If you want the plus, that's 4 charts. All right. The other good things that go with this are, now we only have one tool that you have to put on the chart. You don't have to put a whole bunch of things on the chart. It's just one thing. So you can do it with the basic if you want to, the free version if you want to, but you're not going to get the alerts and stuff like that. You know, with the essential, you get to have 20 technical alerts and 20 price alerts. All right. What price alerts are and technical alerts are, I'll get into in a few minutes. But the plus, you get 100 of each, and the premium, which I have, you get 400 of each. All right. That's all good stuff. So the essential would work for most people. If you're just going to trade one market or 2 markets, then the essential is perfect for you. Okay, and this is a 30-day trial to begin with. You get a 30-day trial and you get the 70% off deal, I think, if you do this right now. I know that I got an email the other day stating that. All right, so that's if you have to get charts. Now, when you get the charts, you also have to get data. The data is $7 a month. I got to tell you all this stuff right up front. Okay, the data is $7 a month. Let me save this. Okay, and we'll go here to get the data. You go here. The thing that you need to give to me, sorry, I'm jumping around just a little bit. I got to get all this basic stuff out right up front. When you sign up, you have to give me, if you hover over this, like for me, it's a picture, it's a logo, but for you, it might just be your initials or something like that. If you hover over that, it says logged in as TV Trades. That's mine. You got to give me whatever you're logged in as. That is the login ID that you need to give to me so I can enable things for you. Okay? Now, when you go there and you go here to account and billing, the data that you need to get real-time data is $7 a month. There's no trial to this. You just got to pay the $7. You go here and see, I'm good till November 2nd of 2025. But you just go here. The one that you need is this: the CME, CBOT, Comics, NYMEX. All right, the CME group, E-mini included. That's the one you need. $7 a month plus tax, depending where you live. For me, it's 60 cents tax too. All right. That's what you need to get for data. All right, I had to give you all that information up front. Again, if you haven't taken the trial, go here to TargetView Trades and sign up for the trial on the home page. Get signed up there. If you get signed up for the trial today, I'll give you access to the beta version that's in progress right now. And yeah, so there, let's get into that now. Now the thing that I was going to show you today, what I was going to go over, there's multiple time frames, which is one thing. Now I covered that last week, but I'll cover it again this week. Kind of quickly, because I got a lot of stuff that I want to get through, and I'm already 8 minutes into it. So what I've done here is I put this second chart right here on the side, and to do that, you just click on this thing. You can choose a layout that has more than one chart. Now, because I have premium, I can have up to 8 charts if I want. If I click that, it's going to give me 8 charts. Now, I don't really need or want 8 charts, so I'll go back here to just the 2. The way it does it, it lops off the stuff on the right-hand side. If I were to go to 3, and then go back to 2, anything that I do in this chart is going to get taken off, and I'm only going to be left with these 2 charts. And then if I just want to have one chart, it's going to be this one over here on the left. Okay, just more information for you. So, multiple time frame stuff. Now, I am all about not having any indicators on the chart at all. Okay, that's what the whole idea behind this is. You don't have indicators, so you don't have to think and make decisions or second guess decisions. If you get an arrow, take the arrow. You know, it tells you what the stop is, it tells you what the target is, it tells you what everything is, it even tells you the risk reward. if you get a trade, like let's just throw it on here. This trade right here, for instance, this was a 25 range NQ trade. Said the stop right here is going to be at 23.80 and a half. So from here, the stop is going to be right down here, the low of this bar. Okay, the stop is going to be 12.25 points. That's a big stop, but it's a big time frame too. It's a 25 range. So you're going to risk, in this case, 250 bucks roughly. And the first target is 423. So your entry point is here at 92. So you have a 30 point target, really. You have a 30 point target, 31 point target, and a 12 point risk. Pretty good stuff. If you want, you can throw the risk reward in here. It'll do the math for you. Click on that, and it's going to do the math for you. And the risk reward, 2.5 to 1 is the risk reward. All right. What that's telling you in this case is it takes the entry and the stop, that difference, that's your risk, and divides that into the entry and the target difference. All right. So it's this minus this divided by this minus this gives you that. That's the math. It says it right in the thing. I'm right in here. I tell you in here, when you go in here, the risk reward, it says right here how it does it. Okay, all these little things that have an I after it, that was me putting a little description in there for you. Not everything has an I, but most of them do. It's me putting a description in there for you. Hang on, the question box. I don't see any questions yet, so I think we're good on questions, right? All right. So, if in whatever chart you're in, like this is the NQ25 range and this is the NQ50 range, if this gives me a long trade, and this is at 1250, so over here at 1250, well, this gave a long trade in here where it was 1250. It depends where in 1250. It turned to blue in here. This is at 1250.16, and this is at 1250.17. It looks like it turned to blue. But anyway, if you have a long trade in here, and you look over here, your larger time frame is blue, then that's all you need to know. You don't need to know what the indicators are doing on your larger time frame, right? You just need to know that the larger time frame is showing blue. It's giving you a larger time frame bullish look. You don't need to see what the indicators are doing. You don't have any indicators, but you don't have to have indicators to know that the larger time frame is saying, it's still bullish here. So look for long opportunities. Now, if you're new to this, you're saying, okay, well, this is a trade right here, and what if I missed the opportunity right there? What if I missed that opportunity? Is there any way to get in after that? Right? And there is. For those of you guys that have been watching for any length of time, you know that we created the mid-trend trades about a month ago. And they'll give you opportunities to get in here. Now, we're only looking at long trades right here just to simplify things and make things go a little smoother and faster, but I will put the shorts on. Now, I'm going to put the mid-trend trades on, and then I'm going to take them back off. The thing that I want you to see in here is the pivots, right? You see, when you're looking at the price, we have the multiple time frames, right? So you're only going to be thinking in one direction. If you're looking over here and you see the longer term direction is bullish, you're only going to be thinking in one direction. So you can actually shut off the shorts. You don't even have to put the shorts on, right? I don't have them on. By default, they are off. By default, the risk reward is off, the mid-trend trade is off. This is your default look right here. Okay, but if I put the mid-trend trades on, then it's just going to give the long mid-trend trades, all right? So it's going to give you this right here. Now, these mid-trend trades are happening, typically they're going to happen at some sort of pivot level in between the original trade right here where the direction change happened and when the trend completes. All right. This is a pivot. This is a lower swing pivot. Now, whether that pivot gets recognized by the software by default, the software that creates pivots are what create these targets. All right, and there's a default look back period that the pivots look at. I'll show you the formula for the pivots to begin with. For regular pivot points, I'll show you that to begin with. But that's not exactly what this does because right here I'm using range bars. I prefer to use range bars than any other bar, but you can do it on like a 5-minute bar too if you want to. It's the same stuff. Okay. In a 5-minute bar, your stop's going to be bigger, 54 tick to stop, 54 point stop. Your risk reward's not anywhere near as good. But you're still going to be looking at the same thing. Over here, instead of having this on a 50 range, you might have this on a 30-minute instead of a, and then you'd be going with the colors on the 30-minute. Right? If it's blue over here, it's blue over here, then you're looking for long trades over here. That sort of thing. If you want to get away from the range bars. Okay? Oops. I don't recommend getting away from the range bars. But if you want to, you can. Alright. I don't see any questions in here yet. Everybody that's coming in right now, I want to say one more time, the beta version that I'm going to show you, to get access to that, you need to send an email to support@targetviewtrades.com. Just say hot tip and your TradingView login ID in the subject line. And I'll give you access to the beta that I'm going to show you here in a few minutes. Okay, for anybody that's coming in right now, send that email to me, support@targetviewtrades.com. Say hot tip. You got to be either on the trial or a subscriber to do that. Right? Alright, so what I want to show you here is, the targets come from pivots. They look back at the prior swing highs and prior swing lows and find the pivots, like this one right here, right? 423.25, that's target number 1. This is the high, the all-time high. That's why you only have one target here. Okay, that's why there's only one target. If we were to put this on like a 5-minute, for instance, you're going to see you have a few more targets in here. Because the way it came together, in a 5-minute, you had like a spot there, a spot there, and a spot there. It looks like, right? Is this one right here, 257? We have 230, the all-time high. It's looking backwards, right? So it's got the all-time high before this, which is, it had 283, and it's got another high before that, apparently. 278, 283, then 337 are the all-time highs in here on the NQ. And on a 5-minute, it's looking back, just different pivots are in different places because it's on a 5-minute chart. The actual high number, though, is still the same. It's just the pivots are going to show up in different spots. I'm going to go back to my 25 range because range bars are just easier to deal with because every bar is the same. So it's looking back at the prior swing high, where the pivot is. Right? Now, I'm talking about this because pivots was one of the subjects for today. So we'll put the pivots on. I'll just show you the pivots, okay? You can turn them on right here. Draw pivot labels. Look at that. See pivot, look back. That's new. And everybody has access to that. Right? That's in the TV trades. I made a new script today. I published a new script today that's in just the regular TV trades. It's not the beta version. But you can see it draws in the pivots for you. So it's looking back and saying, okay, well, this is, given the look back period that we have, by default, it's going to look back and find this pivot. Now, that's going to make your target way up here, right? But what if you didn't want a target way up there? What if you wanted this pivot and you wanted a closer target than that one? What if your risk reward, for some reason your risk reward, let's say it was negative, or not negative, but it was lower, below 1. You really want this to be above 1 or greater. But let's say it was below 1, and you want to stretch your targets out a little bit so that it's not a target that's like right here. You want to stretch your targets out so it's your risk reward makes more sense to you when the trade triggers. Well, that is now adjustable for you. Okay, if you come in here, the look back period on your triggers is by default it's 10. That's pretty much the way it is on most pivots. But if you bump that up, it's going to look back even further. Now, it doesn't really matter in this case because this is an all-time high pivot that at the time it was an all-time high pivot that it was looking back at. But if you want to go smaller, then it's gonna, well, in this case it's not, but normally it would introduce, there it is, okay, it did. Just took it a minute. It'll introduce closer pivots. Okay, so now you got a couple of different pivots here because it's looking back and seeing this one is a new target number 1. So now your risk is smaller and your risk reward is smaller because it's looking at this target right here. Remember the formula that I gave you a few minutes ago? The formula that I gave you a few minutes ago, I'll answer that in a second, Casey. Okay. What would be the bigger time frame for the 15 range? The 30, I would go even bigger than 30. Just twice as big isn't really that much, Rico. For 15 range, I would probably go to like a 45 range, maybe 3x. Can I show how to change times and range levels on the chart? I can show you that, Daryl. Is this okay? And we answered that. Alright. I'm keeping up with the questions. But what I want to show you here, the reason I added this in is if, for some reason, your targets are too far away, your risk reward is too much, your risk is too much. If your stop is too big, actually the stop's always going to be the same. The stop's not going to change, but the risk reward, if you want your risk reward to be more in sync with what you want to take, and your target is a little closer, something you think is more achievable, something that, there I go with the you think stuff. But if you want, it's just optional. You can choose to do it this way if you want to. You can change the look back period, and that's going to change your risk reward and where your targets are. Okay, because the target's looking back at pivot. So if you make the pivot look back smaller, then it's going to look for nearer pivots. If you make it bigger, then it's going to look for pivots that are farther away. It's going to get rid of all these little ones and just has this big pivot right here. Okay, because this was an all-time high at the time, it's not going to have any pivot above that. But if you go to another market that's not at all-time highs, then you would see the other pivots in there. Okay. So to change the time frames, Daryl, go up here. This is how you do it. All right. With TradingView, you go in here and you click on this little arrow. You probably don't have all these things in here. Okay, but you click on this little down arrow, and up here at the top you have Add Custom Interval. Now this is something else that you will not be able to do with the free version. You can do it with the $14 version, the Essential, the Plus, and anything above the Essential. Essential and anything above it, you can add custom intervals. Below that, you won't be able to add custom intervals on the free version. But you see I have all these different ranges down here that I added for various reasons. But you just click on Add Custom Interval, and in here choose whatever you want. We'll say range, and if I want to put, what range don't I have? Let's just say 26. I don't think I have a 26 range. Okay, say 26 range and click Add. And now I just added this 26 range in here in my list. Okay. Now, if I want to use a 26 range, this chart right here is the one that I'm on. It's a 25 range. But if I want to switch it to 26 range, then I just click on it. Okay, and if I want 26 range to show up here in this list, I put a star on it, like that. Now 26 range is up there in the list, so now I can just click on it right here, go 26 range. Okay, or back to 25. Now 25 and 26 are just random numbers. They're not really anything that I'm suggesting that you use. It's just random numbers. Okay. What time do I start taking? I do not, Willie. I take trades as soon as the market opens. Sometimes before the market opens. I take trades when the European market's open in the middle of the night. I take trades, if I happen to be seeing something that sets up at 7 o'clock at night, I'll take a trade then. But when I sit down in the morning, I sit down right around 9:20. I start the room up around 9:10, 9:15 usually. And when I sit down to start trading, I usually start trading around 9:25, 9:30, and I just start trading. All right. And lately, I've been killing it lately. I've been getting the goal for the day. My goal for the day, anyway, in the first 10-15 minutes every day. But I don't wait to start taking trades. All right, when 9:30 happens, I might wait a couple of minutes after that, because usually there's all kinds of spreads in the range bars. There's all kinds of spreads and stuff like that. So usually I wait till like 2 or 3 minutes after. But I'll be taking trades before it. Before 9:30, I will take trades, and once the markets do click at 9:30, then there's usually spreads right at the beginning. There's a couple of gaps right at the beginning, and so I'll give it a couple of minutes to fill all those gaps and then start trading right away. Okay, the question was, what time do I start trading? The difference between the green arrow and the blue arrow, Casey. The green arrow is a mid-trend trade. The blue arrow is, that's a feature that I added about a month ago. That was what I was describing earlier. If you come in and you have this trigger right here, and you're like, oh well, I missed that one, and now you don't get another trigger until all the way over here. So this trigger was here at 11:43, and you don't get another one for an hour. If you wanted to take something in between, but you're wondering what you should take, well, then you can just put the mid-trend trade on, and that's going to give you an indication of when you can trade again. Okay, in this case right here, it would have stopped you out, but over here it would have given you some nice profit. This one here would have been okay to take. This, okay to take. The thing about the mid-trend trades, you stop with the mid-trend trades because they should be the pivot. All right, they should be happening on the pivot. Let me get rid of the pivots now that I've mentioned it already. Let me undraw the pivot labels and put this back up to 10. 10 is what the default is. That's what I use when I create everything on here. But these mid-trend trades should be on the pivots. Okay, so your stop just needs to be a little bit below the bar that got you into the trade. All right, they should be on the pivot. So if I'm using a 25 range, I'd have probably a 30 stop maybe. Okay, that's what I'd be using on these, and I'd be anticipating like 50 on every trade. So I'd be using like a 30 by 50 stop or bracket. Okay. All right, that was Casey's question. That was the. I don't have the shorts on here, but the shorts, they're red here and they're fuchsia, is what the actual color is on the down. If you just put the shorts on and get rid of the longs, flip it around, fuchsia. Right, you have your red right there at the beginning of the trend, and then you have the fuchsia for the mid-trend trade. Red at the beginning of the trend, red at the beginning of the trend, and then your fuchsia for the mid-trend trades. Okay. Now, there wasn't a lot of reason to go short today, so bring this back down. So I didn't really turn the shorts on all that much. All right. Pivots. What time is it? 3:26. How many people are in here? Okay. Got a good group of people in here. Everybody seems to be sticking. Nobody's running off yet. What is the time frame that I use for NQ and the ES? Well, it depends. It depends, really. It depends what time of the day it is. It depends how much time I have. It depends how much risk I want to take. Like sometimes during the day when I know I'm only going to have a little bit of time, I'll trade on a 4-tick range. And I only have to risk 5 or 6 ticks on every trade that I take with a 4-tick range. Well, the mid-trend trades anyway. 5 or 6 ticks on every trade that I take with a 4-tick range. The most I'm going to risk is going to be 8 ticks. So I usually get some pretty good and quick trades in if I want to do that. Alright, on a 4-tick range, if I bump this down to a 4 range, you will see that it gives a... Well, this is the NQ. I wouldn't really do the NQ on a 4 range. I get 4 ticks of slip on the NQ. But I do the Russell on a 4 range. And the ES on the 4 range. Now, you might be saying, well, the 4 range is really small. And it is really small. But the spreadsheet that we do in the morning, any of you guys have been following me around for the last 10 or 15 years. The spreadsheet that we do in the morning, this is it right here. The spreadsheet goes back over 10 years of the daily results. And from 2013 up to 2023 in this spreadsheet, all the results in that spreadsheet are on a 4-tick range. So we traded a 4-tick range for a very long time until the whole Ukraine thing happened. And when that happened, the markets got really volatile and it was just going too fast. You couldn't do it on a 4-tick range, so I bumped it up. But I like to trade the NQ on a 15 range. I like to trade the NQ on a 30 range. I like to trade the ES and the Russell on 4 ranges and 7 ranges. One of the things, I was talking to a fellow the other night. I don't know if he's in. I don't know if he's in here. I'm gonna look at all the people and see. He might be in here. No, that's not his name. But I was talking to a fellow the other night and explaining why I use range bars. All right, because he likes range bars, but he was using like a 35 range, and he likes to trade the NQ on a 35 range, and that doesn't make sense to me. Well, I'm sorry, it does make sense. What was he trading it? He was trading the NQ on. There was some number that wasn't exactly right, and he was trading the NQ on it. And I said, well, the way that I use it, when I pick the ranges for like the NQ, the Russell's not so much, and the YM not so much, but for the NQ and the S, because there's 4 ticks in a point, do something that's a multiple of 4 minus 1. Alright? That's why it's like a 7. It's going to be a 7, 11, 15, 19, 23, 27. Multiple of 4 minus 1. Yeah, he was using like a 30 something. I don't know, but I don't remember. But the idea is, if you're using range bars, the real advantage of using range bars is not just that you know how big every bar is going to be, but you can be proactive with your order. If you know where the bottom is, you know where the top's going to be. So if you know ahead of time, like in here, you got to notice ahead of time that the next bar could be the trigger. So you can be proactive with that. Like right here, there was an alert that went out. A notice over here on the side, if you had it set up, there was a notice over here on the side that said, possible long soon, is what this would have said right here. When this blue happened on the red background, it said over here on the side, possible long soon. Now I don't know that I've got it turned on for the Russell in here. If I look at this, I had it turned on for the NQ. Okay, so you get something like this. NQ15 range buy soon is what you would get. And that was here at 1334, and then 20 seconds later, 25 seconds later, you actually got the buy condition. The buy condition was met. So with a range bar, when you get this, you know exactly where your order's got to go on the next bar. Alright, because you know the bottom is, so it's got to go where the top's going to be plus 1 tick, and you can be proactive and put that order on ahead of time. That's why if you do it at a multiple of 4 minus 1, so not so much this with the 4 range, but with the 16 range, if you do it 4 points from the bottom of the bar, if I knew this, then I could say, okay, 4 points from the bottom of this bar, 4 points up from the bottom of this bar is where I'm going to put my buy stop limit order. So I can put it on ahead of time, and it'll be there ahead of time. When that bar closes and you get the trigger, it'll enter you right in the trade. Okay, that's why I use range bars, and that's why I use the numbers that I use with range bars. Okay, it was Victor, yeah. And 34 range, is that what it is, Willie? Yeah, it was Victor. And 34 range, that's what we talked about it last night. I was saying, well, if you're gonna use the range, you use a 31 range, you use a 35 range. Don't use a 34. And I think I talked him into it last night. I thought he was going to be here today, but he is not. Anyway, that's why I use range bars. What was the question? What is my main time frame, and what do I use for the NQ? And yes, that was the question that I was answering there. When do I start taking trades? I answered that. The difference between the green arrows and the blue arrows. What would be the bigger time frame for that? I answered that. Darrow kind of show how to change times and range levels on the chart. I showed you that. And Casey asked the same thing. Or that somebody else asked, is the second one always 2 times the smaller chart? Should it be 3 times? It can be whatever you're comfortable with, but I don't think 2 times is big enough, especially if you're using like a 4 range. Going to an 8 range isn't going to help you that much. From a 4 range, I would go to like a 20 range or something like that. Okay. When you try to change the contract, i.e. in QDS, it comes up as ES1. Okay, the difference, let me show you that. Right, if you click up here and you do symbol search, delete it down to the base symbol like that. Right, get down to the base symbol like Russell. When you click on this, the RTY1 exclamation point is the leading contract. Now, most of the time that's what you're going to want, but when you're in rollover week, like last week, that's not necessarily what you're going to want. Alright, this right here is probably what you want. I mean, for right now, this is what you want. You want to be on the U contract. Right, if you go to RTYU 2024, if you want to switch from the Russell to the NQ, then delete the whole symbol and just type NQ. And make sure you have all over here selected too, alright? Because if you have NQ on stocks, it's not going to give you what you're looking for. So click over here and do all on NQ. Click the down arrow, and the U contract on the NQ is what we want too. Right now, if you do the NQ1 exclamation point, that's going to give you the leading contract, which right now is the U contract. But when you get closer to rollover date, yeah, that's what he said. He said something like that, Willie. He said he's going to start up next week. But when you get closer to rollover date, I think he said Monday. When you get closer to rollover date, that's when you want to make sure you're on the right contract. All right, the one that's got the most volume. Like last week we didn't roll over the contract when we normally did. We had to wait for the volume to get from the M contract to the U contract. And lately it hasn't been consistent about when it does it. It used to do it, for years and years it would do consistently. We'd roll on the Friday after the contract became available. So the contract becomes available on the second Thursday of the month. And then the rollover, the contract expiration is on the third Friday of the month. Right? That's the way that it works. But for years, the volume would roll over on the second Friday of the month to the new contract, but it hasn't been that way recently. So if you do the NQ1 exclamation point, that's going to cover you most of the time, probably 2.5 out of 3 months. But when you get to the end of the month, you're going to have to make sure you're in the right contract. The end of the I'm sorry, the end of the contract period. You have to make sure you're in the right contract. Okay, Daryl. If you need help with any of that, just let me know. Okay. All right. So the pivots. The reason I want to give you guys the option to change the pivot levels is, when I first created this, my very original creation only had like 3 things in here, 3 or 4 things in here. It didn't have any options for anything else. It's just you put it on the chart and that's what you get. You don't get to change anything. That was my original thing. But I've been doing this a long time, and most of you guys have been following me for a long time, and you come up with things, and I come up with things, and then we sort of put it all together, and we get a hodgepodge of stuff that we've all created that works great, and ideas and stuff like that, like this, the beta stuff. If I turn that on, let's just do the beta longs. Now, this hot point thing, the idea behind the hot point thing is something I had totally been working on. That's why I was able to create it so fast, Rico. The idea about the hot point thing was something I had totally been working on. But Rico came and gave me his idea about some things, and I was thinking, hey, you know what? I'm on the edge of creating something that's really good, and this would just be one other thing. It doesn't change the calculation at all. It just lets you know that this is one that's likely to run. So I don't want to say double down on that one, but give it a little more room to run. Don't move your stop so quick. That's what I guess I'm suggesting with that. Okay. Do I use a 9 range for crude and GC? I use a 7 range, Chris, on the crude and the GC. Okay, crude and gold, for those of you guys who don't know. Don't double down. Just let it run longer. That's pretty much it. Let it run longer. Don't be so aggressive with your risk management. Is what the real suggestion would be. You got to have your risk management in style. You got to move your stop and do everything like you normally do. Have your stop in place and move your stop to break even. But after the break even, when you trail in your stop, trail it a little looser. Is what I would suggest. Now we throw some shorts on there. You can see it on the shorts. The mid-trend trade, it doesn't happen very often on the mid-trend trade, the hot tips. Okay. It's normally on the ones that trigger at the beginning of a trend. And it's not on every one for sure, but it's normally on the ones that trigger at the beginning of a trend. And it's just something to give you a little comfort when you take a trade. When you get a trade. I know a lot of times people get into trade and they're like nervous that it's not going to make it or anything like that. But when you get into it, look left and see where it should go. And really give it a chance to get there. Look left and see where it should go. And give it a chance to get there. Okay. You look left and see where it should go. And give it a chance. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Alright. Wow, I went through a lot of stuff really fast today. Normally that would have taken me a long time. I guess I'm answering the questions really fast too. Does anybody in here have any questions? Now we got a good group of people in here, and if you guys are not in here, you're not on the trial and you're not subscribed yet, and you want a chance to play around with this beta, all you have to do is send an email to support@targetvtrades.com, and in the header just put hot tips and give me your TradingView login ID. You have to be on the trial, or you have to be a subscriber, an active subscriber. Okay. Now most of you guys, probably about half of you, are either on the trial or active subscribers right now. If you haven't taken the trial and you want to, go here to targetvtrades.com, and the home page is what I want to get to. The home page, and it's just right down here. Just click on this to take the trial to get started. The weekly and the monthly have a 3-day free trial. Alright, you won't be charged anything during those 3 days. And if you want to get started on that today, You know, you can start with it today, and I'll get you going today. And you know, it's only 25 bucks a week, 90 bucks a month. 25 bucks a week, that's nothing. I mean, to get in there and try it out for a week or two, that is nothing. That I literally is not even a full tank of gas for me. One other thing I want to show you one more time. If you don't have TradingView, or even if you do have TradingView right now, go out to tradingview.com, and they have a sale going on right now. I'm going to see if I can find the email that they sent to me. Let me see. I think it's in here. TradingView. Might not be in this email. CoinDesk me. Here it is. Nope, that was me. Sorry, that wasn't from them. CoinDesk. Nope. Let me go to the other email here. It might be in here. TradingView. No. Hang on. Welcome has been all this garbage. I can't find it, but they through July 4th right now they have the 70% off sale going. All right, so yeah, definitely take advantage of that if you can right now. If you want to, it's 70% off for the annual. You're gonna have to sign up for the annual, but if you're gonna use TradingView for a year, it's a great deal. They do this a couple times a year. If you miss it right now, it's not too bad. But you would get this for like 280 bucks or something like that. The annual is normally 600 bucks, and it'd be 200 and something is what it is for the year. And yeah, I just wanted to make you guys aware of that. They have the sale a few times a year, and they're having it right now. And the thing about it is, if you take the sale, like I did last year, I took the sale, and I still had like 4 months left in my sale when they offered it again around Easter. And I did it again at Easter, and they just added on, the deal price to the end of the sale that I had. So it's a really good thing. Okay. Is this being recorded for future listening? Yes, it is, Daryl. What range would I use for gold, Dwayne? I use a 7-tick range for gold. The 10-tick stop is what I use. I use that for gold. I use that for gold, and I use it for crude oil. Okay, those are the things I use it for. So, yeah, that is that is the answer to that. Now you can, like if you want to look at, let's just look at this. Yeah, where was I on that? I was gonna go show you gold. GC. What is the contract we're currently on in gold? Is it the U contract, I think? No, it is not the U contract. See, in this case right here, because I don't know which one, I can just do the leading one. I can just do GC1 exclamation point. It's going to put me on the leading contract. Alright, so this is what gold looks like on a 4 range. And if I put it on the 4 range and I put the hot tips on, I don't know what that's going to look like. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but let's just see. Oh, I have the hot tips on. Alright, so if it were going to give us any indication, it would. It's got longs and shorts going. Alright, so it just doesn't, it's not meeting the requirement for any of those. Here it is right here. There's one. A hot tip. But you can see with gold on the 4-tick range, is this a 4 range? Yeah, with gold on the 4 range, it's killing it right here. Like every one of these trades. That one didn't. Okay, almost every one of these trades on gold 4 range. And gold's 10 bucks a tick for these guys who don't know. It's 10 bucks a tick per contract. Okay. August. Alright. Well, it doesn't really matter. If you do the one exclamation point, it's going to put it on the leading contract. So in here, if I undo this, like this, and I go to GC, and then I select August. It's this one right here, is a GCQ. See, it's going to be the same contract, the same stuff. Thanks, Chris. But you can use whatever you're comfortable with as far as your risk reward goes, right? If If you only want to risk 50 bucks, 50 or 60 bucks a trade per contract, then go to a 4 range, and it's going to work out just fine most of the time. I hadn't even looked at this on a 4 range gold. I stopped looking at gold a while ago because the gold just wasn't moving. But maybe I should take another look at it. You're making me think that maybe I should not have discounted the gold so quickly. And this is without putting the bias on. Oh, I guess it is. No, the bias is on. Okay, so this is with the bias on. Those of you guys who don't know, the bias level basically says whatever you have the level set at. In here, I have it set to 233. That's just a random fib number. But basically it says if it's below the 233, we're only going to show shorts, and it's above the 233, we're only going to show longs. That's basically what it is. Hey, you know what? It might have been, now that I think about it, it might have been a text message that they sent to me. Here it is. No, that's not it. Let me see, truest. Hang on. I'm just looking. I have like a million text messages a day. But I think they sent it yesterday. I just got another one from them a second ago. I've gone back too many days there. So if I look in here, these are all just login things. Okay, well, I can't find it. But anyway, I know the sale is going on until the end of tomorrow, I think. Alright. More stuff. Why is this market running right now? Oh, because it's not on the CME. I think the CME closed at 1. Alright, more questions. Would I suggest the NQ to use a multiple of 4 minus 1? Yes, I do. That's why I use a 15 range on the NQ. Really, it's 16 minus 1, so I know, when I'm putting a trade on, it's 4 points above or below the bar. Whatever the bar is, it's 4 points above or below the bar that I'm on. That's where I'm going to put the buyer sell stop. Okay. What time is it? 3:47, so we have 13 minutes left. And I think I covered everything that I really wanted to cover. But let's get into here a little bit, because if there's anybody watching this after the fact and they don't understand everything that's in here, let me just go through it all. Okay. So, by default, your chart's going to look like, once it finishes undoing everything that I just undid, it's going to look like, not even that, it's going to look like this. Alright, and then when you put the TV trades on, this is the beta version. So if you put the regular TV trades on, it's going to look like this. Okay, you're just going to have long trades. Right, it's just going to have long trades because I designed TV trades for stocks more than I did for futures. I mean, it works great with everything. It works great with ETFs, stocks, futures, options, forex, everything. But the majority of the people in here want to see futures. That's why we're sticking with futures. And people that are trading stocks, they really don't want to buy stocks. They don't really want to sell stocks, unless they own it. They don't want to short sell stocks. But with futures, you're going to do both. Anyway, the default is just to have longs. So this is what it looks like by default. So if you want to put shorts on, just check the shorts. Alright, and by default, it's only going to have what you see here in the table. Okay, and the table is going to show just the information from the blue and the red arrows. It's not going to show stuff from mid-trend trades. Like this is the last red arrow. That's where the data from the table is coming from. The last red arrow. Alright, so the table is going to show you the targets. It's going to give you your stop in points. It's going to give you your stop. Well, this is dollar sign in points. If you're trading a stock, it'll give you the dollar value of your stop. And where it should go, where your entry point is, where your targets are, all that. That's by default. It gives you all that information. You can add to that. You can show the risk reward in there if you want to. Alright, it's going to add the risk reward. I showed you what the calculation for that is. You can draw target lines on the chart if you want to. It just puts lines showing you where the targets are. There's target number 1, target number 2, target number 3. If you want to draw the lines on the chart. If you miss a trade and you want to get in somewhere else on the trend on the way down, you can put the mid-trend trade on. Alright, now For shorts, it's going to show the fuchsia. For long, it's going to be green. Right? The mid-trend trade stop is different than the stop for this. The stop for this is going to be up here in the table. But what the stop is for this, the maximum that it's going to be is 2 bar lengths if you're using range bars. Okay, but the stop is going to be the high of the bar before it if you're going short, or the low of the bar before it if you're going long. That's where your stop is going to be, using the red and the blue stops. The mid-trend trade stops, it does not give it to you in the table. It's going to be 1 or 2 ticks, a couple of ticks anyway, below the bar that got you into the trade, because it should be the pivot bar. Now these little black arrows, if you don't know what they are, they appear before the mid-trend trades most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time they'll appear before the mid-trend trades, letting you know that the next bar could be a trade. Alright, it's going to let you know the next bar could be a trade when you get one of those. Alright, you don't get them on every one of the mid-trend trades, but you get them on a lot of them. And sometimes it doesn't actually give you the trade, but you get them on a lot of them, and that's letting you know ahead of time that you have a mid-trend trade coming up, probably. Otherwise, you can just look at the deep pullback and be looking for the mid-trend trade, and if you get it, you get it. That is what the mid-trend trade stuff is. Now let me go back in here. I want to go through everything in here. The target lines, I did the bias level. I explained that if you check the bias level, if you check that box, whatever this number is a simple moving average. It's only going to show longs above that simple moving average. It's only going to show shorts below that simple moving average. Okay, so it's going to remove about half of your trades. Number of targets, that's the number of targets it displays in the box. It'll display as many as it can up to the number that you say. It goes from 1 to 5. The position, this is the position of this box. You can move it around, left, right, down one spot, and down one other spot. So it's got center, mid, and bottom, center, left, and right. And those are positions that you can put the table in. You can change the background color of the text. In here for the shorts I have red, and for the longs I have green. But yellow stands out really well if you want to put yellow in there for either one of those. But these are just my default numbers here. Okay. You can draw the pivots if you want to. These are the colors of the pivots. If you do draw the pivots, these are the colors that the pivots are going to be when they come out. You can change those around if you want to, depending on what your background color is. Your background color for the table, if you have a black background, then this black background in the table is probably not going to work for you. You can change that to white. If you change it to white, you're going to want to change the text color in the table. Okay, so you can see what's in there. But by default, it's going to be black, and this is going to be white. Okay, that's the default stuff there. This look back right here. Now, this is occasionally it'll look back and it can't find data, and nothing will show up on your chart. If that happens, you can refresh your indicator, or just go in here and like take 500 off of this, make it like 3,000. Because what happens is it's going back and looking for more data to find more pivots, and it's not finding any more data. Okay. Now in here under style, these are the little black arrows that pop up and down. You can make them not black if you want. If you have a black background, you might want those to be white. Mid-trend trade, you can change the colors of those. The bar colors, this is these bar colors right here. All these bar colors, you can change that if you want to. The buy and sell area, these background colors right here is what that is. The up and down arrow. Those are your basic up and down arrows. This one right here and this one right here at the beginning of trend change. The fuchsia and the mid-trend trades right there, I told you that already. If you want to take the table off the chart, just uncheck that. The table will go away. Okay. That is everything that there is to know about the indicator itself, or the tool itself. Right? Those were all the little bits and pieces. Now, inside the beta, I added, well, before I go to that, inside here there's also the pivot look back. If you want to draw the pivot labels, check that box. Pivot look back is 10 by default. But inside the beta, inside the beta, you have all the same things in here. Alright, all the same stuff, even the draw the pivot labels and the look back and all that stuff. But under style now, I have this other stuff that I'm working on for you. Now this is in the beta version that you're gonna have access to. This is not going to be in the version that gets released in the future. Alright, these are just things that I'm looking at in the future that I'm going to maybe put on, maybe not put on. But you have access to this right now if you have the beta version. And what I'm looking at in here, the hot tip long, those are all to put the longs on the shorts and the longs and the shorts and the mid-trend trades if you want to. If you don't want the hot tip on the mid-trend trade, don't check it. None of these are turned on by default, right? These are all off by default. If you want to see the hot tips, you can put them on. And what this is an area where you may or may not get a trigger for the mid-trend trade. The price is pulling back to an area in here, and if it's blue, it pulls back to a blue line, and you have separation in the blue line between these two. And you have a blue bar, pulls back to a blue line. A lot of times you're not going to get your mid-trend trade in there. If I just throw the mid-trend trades on, if I put longs and shorts and the mid-trend trades on, the mid-trend trades won't show unless you put the longs and shorts on. See in here there was a bounce right here and a bounce right there. This one gave you a mid-trend trade without a bounce. There's a bounce right there. This gave you a bounce right there without the mid-trend trade. It's going to give you more opportunities. Not that you really need more opportunities, but it's going to give you some more opportunities. And I want to put that there for you guys to look at. I don't want you to have indicators on the chart, right? But I wanted you guys to see this is something that I'm working on that's going to give you more opportunities without actually having the indicator. That's why it says in here, lead and lag temp. Oops, it's not on that one. It's on this one. That's why it says in here, temp lead and temp lag, because I'm going to remove that in the future. But I want you guys to take a look at that. If you want to, you can. You don't have to. Just go with what it says to begin with, and that's all you need to do. You know, you don't really have to. You don't have to think. That's the whole idea, is to make it so you don't have to think. All right. All right. So most everybody stayed in here for the whole thing. Now, if you have not taken a trial with us and you want to, go to targetviewtrades.com and go to the home page and take the trial right here. All right. Take the trial right here, down here. Free trial. Take the next steps now. Right there. All right. That's all that you have to do to take that trial. All right. I think that was everything I wanted to cover, guys. The pivots. I didn't get into the formula for pivots. You guys want to see the formula for pivots? I'll show you what the formula is. It's not exactly what I use, but this here is basically your formula for pivots. The pivot point is the previous day's high, low, and close divided by 3. Now, it says day in here because I copied and pasted this, but it'd be the bar for us. Now, that doesn't really play out all that well with what I'm using the pivots for. That's not how you do it. What they're talking about when they talk about pivot points like that is they're talking about these kind of pivot points. If you go in here to technical indicators, and you have these default pivot points, like this, pivot point standard. That's exactly what that is. And it puts some random points here on your chart. You see these right here, pivot point there, and there. And that's the formula for those points. Right, previous day's high, low, close, and then support levels and resistance levels. That's the formula for that. But that really doesn't pertain to. It's not in context with what we're doing. Okay. Can you re-listen on YouTube or tvtrades.com? It's gonna be at Target View Trades when I'm done with this in about an hour. Daryl. This will be out here in Target View Trades. It'll be under TV Trades Web Recordings. It'll be right here at the top. Okay, it'll be right above this one. Okay, so you can listen to this again in a little while. I got to stick it out on YouTube because this website only takes YouTube recordings. So I got to take this recording and then convert it to YouTube, and then take the YouTube and stick it into the web page. That's what happens after I finish these things. It's like another hour's worth of work. So right here, the GC is saying you got a short coming up right here. Now the GC is closing here in a minute, I believe. I'm not sure that stays open until 5, but I thought it was going to be closed at 1 today, but it must be one of those exchanges that's not closed at 1. Alright. So we go on the multi-time frame. I read only. Yeah. I am only concerned with the background color. Now let me show you how to do that. Okay, minimize this and I'll show you how to do that. forget just the background, you put on the TV trades, and then inside the TV trades, you can uncheck everything, but you also have to go, in here. Oops, not there. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Right click on this and go to settings on this, and in symbol, go to up bars and make your opacity 0 on the up bars and your down bars and your projection up bars and your projection down bars. Alright, that's to get this so that it's just color like this. Alright, if you make any of that, and again I'll do that again slower, right click on the chart and go to settings, and if you make this so that it's not that, you're going to get the current bar as it's building right there. You see that black bar? So, I don't want you to, you're not looking at the larger time frame for any kind of a direction. You're looking at the larger time frame just to know what the overall direction is. Larger time frame is suggesting bullish. Still, it's suggesting bullish, 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 bullish. So you're looking for bullish on the shorter time frame. Okay. So again, right click, go to settings, and all these things, set the opacity to 0. Opacity, I don't know. Anyway, set it to 0, and then make sure up here on your TV trades that the only thing you're showing is a buy sell area. In here, uncheck all of this stuff. Okay, just uncheck it all, and only show in here the buy sell area. Well, I mean, the other stuff doesn't really matter because you unchecked everything else. You're not going to get any bar. Don't do the bar color. Okay, uncheck the bar color. Alright, and that will give you a long-term chart with nothing else in it. Alright. Okay, sorry I forgot about that. I forgot to tell you guys how to do that. So there, you have multi-time frames and pivots and some new stuff. Again, if you guys want to have access to the beta version, if you want to play around with the beta version and you want to see, I mean, it's no new calculations or anything like that. It's just going to give you trades that should run. They should really run. Okay. If they're going to win, they should have a good run, at least to the prior swing low. Okay, this is on a 4 range, so it's not a huge run because it's on a 4 range, but at least to the prior swing low is what you'd be expecting out of these. Right, prior swing low or high. This isn't really that big of a trade right there, but the high before that might be significant. I can't see where it is, but if you're on that trade, I would say it up here in the target table for you. Alright, use Ninja, so you would have Trading View on and just take trades in Ninja. That is correct, Willie. A lot of people do that. They trade on their Ninja DOM or trade on their Ninja chart if they want to trade on their chart, but they take trades from the Trading View charts. Okay, there's so much that I can do with the Trading View charts that I cannot do with Ninja. Ninja just doesn't have the technology. Okay. Alright guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'll wrap this up and we can all go and enjoy our holiday. Alright guys, again, if you haven't taken a free trial and you want to, go here to Target View Trades and sign up for the trial right here on the home page. Right. The weekly and the monthly has a 3-day free trial associated with it. It's only $25 a week if you want to do it. If you want to stick, and $90 a month. This is a 10% discount over that. This is almost a 10% discount over that. I believe it's almost a 20% discount over that. I don't know, something like that. I don't know exactly what it is, but no, this is the biggest discount. This is 10% over that. I know that much. This recording will be here later today. If you go to the home page, targetviewtrades.com, click on TV Trades Web Recordings, this is where I'm sticking them all when I'm done. So if you want to watch any of the ones that I've done leading up to this, they'll be right here. Alright. Thanks for coming, everybody. Thanks for asking the questions. They are what make it interesting. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be on the water tomorrow, Daryl. There's going to be so many people out there. We might go out tonight. Last night was perfect. We might go out tonight. But I'm thinking I'm going to leave the boat at the marina tomorrow. Yeah, too many people out there that aren't normally out there. Rented boats and drinking and stuff like that. No thanks. Alright. That is it, guys. I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you all for coming today. And I will see you all in the next meeting. If you have any questions, my phone number, well, you can text me at 617-943-3298. Okay, but email support at targetviewtrades.com to get in touch. Support at targetviewtrades.com. If you want to use a beta version, email hot tips and your TradingView login ID to me. You have to be on the trial, or you have to be a subscriber to get the beta version. Okay, that's it, guys. Thank you all for coming again, and have a great and safe holiday. And we'll see you all soon. All right? You have 12. You have all 12 of your grandkids with you. That's because you live on the lake, Daryl. It's a good thing you got that big house. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you all soon.